Hey, welcome to the How to Podcast series. My name is Dave. Nice to meet you. This podcast episode is something that maybe we should put out there into the world as a way to share between two people around this whole big world called podcasts. What is a podcast? What is this thing that we're talking about? I have a few things to share with you as a potential new podcast listener. So your friend has said this to you, whether technology is your friend or not. I wanted to come on here as a host of a podcast and help you navigate signing up and picking a podcast listen app and how to subscribe and follow a podcast. Are you ready? For this, you are going to need a phone. Now, I'm talking about not a phone attached to the wall with a cord, like when I was growing up, but a phone that you can have in your hand that has apps. So, go to your app store. For everyone listening, I'm on a Google phone, a Google Pixel. So I'm not on an Apple phone, I'm on a Google phone. So I'm going to talk you through it as I'm doing this in real time about getting onto a podcast. First of all, Dave, before you get on your phone, explain to me, what is a podcast? Okay. You're going to get a lot of different answers to this question, but a real simple answer is, it is like an online, on-demand radio show that you don't have to be there live for, like traditional radio. And if you miss that 7 o'clock spot, you missed the 7 o'clock spot. You have access to a library of content that you're interested in at a moment's notice. You can come here to your phone, to your favorite listening app, and listen to a show that interests you on a variety of topics. Podcasting is great. It's worldwide. It's growing every day. And there's a lot of great makers out in this space, creating content for free for you to access anywhere. And that's the beauty of podcasting. It's for everyone, and it can be accessed anytime, on any device. And that's kind of the parameters of a podcast. You don't have to pay for these things. These are free. These episodes are free, and we want to share them with you as a podcaster and a potential listener to podcasts. So, before we go any further, I have a question for you. What are you interested in? What would you like to know more about? Do you like horses? There's a podcast for that. Do you knit? There's a podcast for that. Are you a fan of a TV show? There's a podcast for that. Movie? Yes. Artist, musician, painter, author, songwriter, movie producer, stamp collector, antique hunter. There's a podcast for anything that you can think of. Do you want a podcast about your German Shepherd? There is podcasts about your German Shepherd. There is a podcast for anything that you can think of. But first, we need to get you connected through your phone to this amazing world of free podcasts. Okay? And I'm here to help you with this. So again, somebody sent this to you because they really care for you and they want you to be a part of this. And I'm happy to be the one to help you through this. So your phone is in your hand. My phone is in my left hand so that I can go through and navigate. And I'm going to go to my Google App Store, my Google Play, and I'm going to go to that search bar at the very top. I'm going to type one word, Podcast, podcast, and hit the search button. Now, what I see at the top of my list, because I'm on a Google device, is Google Podcasts. I also see other apps, Podcast Addict, I see Amazon Music, I see Deezer, I see Podcast Player, and on, Spotify for music and podcasts. I see Podcast Player app, and Stitcher, and iHeart. Oh, on and on and on and on and on. Okay, these are all apps that support playing podcasts. So pick one. So I'm going to go with Google Podcast because it's at the top of my list. I click on Google Podcast, I download it to my phone, and I click open. And now I'm in the app. And all I need to do is go to the Explore button, which is at the bottom center of my screen, and the search bar pops up. I can type in German Shepherd and hits the little magnifying glass, and here we go. I have multiple podcasts have come up here. German Shepherd this, German Shepherd that. There's pictures of German Shepherds. The German Shepherd podcast. I have podcasts from Germany about German Shepherds. They're there. And all I have to do is click on the image that comes up on my screen and look at it, and I can see a basic information about what it is. And I can see the episodes listed right there. All I need to do, if I want to get this podcast delivered to my phone and never have to do the search again, is I hit the little subscribe button or follow on some other people's apps. But subscribe or follow, you click it, and it adds it to your queue of podcasts. Every time the host of this show releases a new episode, it will show up in a folder within the app as an unplayed episode for you to listen to. So go around, click subscribe. And the other one thing I've had people ask, Dave, when I click subscribe, is that like subscribing to Netflix or a paid service? No, these are free. And what this is just doing is taking the content as it comes out and putting it into your folder of new and unplayed listens so that you can come back to it later. So it doesn't matter when the host releases a podcast, it's just going to show up in your folder waiting for you to listen. And there it is. At the same time, this one podcast I'm on has 35 episodes. I can scroll through, and mine are set to show the most recent podcast at the top of the page, but I can scroll through all the way back to the beginning and see episode 1 and play all the way through if I really love the content. I can listen to them all. So you can listen right from your phone. You're not downloading anything. You're not using any data that is going to require you to pay for this. For me, what I suggest is to do this when you're connected to a Wi-Fi signal. So for me, I work nights and my place that I work has free Wi-Fi. So I tap into the Wi-Fi at work and I listen to my heart's content. It doesn't cost me a penny, and I can go through and listen to multiple shows while I'm at work. If that works for you, great. You can set it up for your Wi-Fi at home. You can go to a big department store or a restaurant. They'll have free Wi-Fi. You can listen wherever you are. So there's no need to spend any money to listen to your favorite show. The alternative as well is you can actually download the episode directly to your device. And there's a little down arrow pointing on each episode. I can then keep the episode and it's on my phone and I don't need to be connected to any internet service at all. No data, but it's actually living on my phone, and then delete it once I'm done listening to it. That's another option. So you can find anything you want, anytime you want, right from your phone. This also works for Apple devices. Apple has its own app built right into your phone, so you don't have to go download another app, but you can. If you like a different app better, go and try that. You can always go to YouTube. You can always go, how do I listen to a podcast? How do I download an app? And someone will show you on screen exactly what to do. But again, we want to put this in front of you because someone sent you the link to this episode to say, you know what? Podcasting is something that's amazing. You're going to get great content from people who really put a lot of time and effort into building a podcast for you. You can hear great interviews. You can hear all kinds of different content from different people from around the world. And it all is there for you on your phone. So that is how you get podcasts directly delivered to you on a regular basis. If you have questions as a new podcast listener and you're like, I just need to ask a few things, there's a link in my show notes for this episode. And if all you have to do for show notes is when you click on this episode, there's some information showing on your screen. And you can scroll up and down, and there'll be links there where you can come and speak to me directly. howtopodcast.ca is my website. I'm in Canada. howtopodcast.ca. You can reach out to me anytime. I would love to answer any questions that you have about being a podcast listener. And I would encourage you to share this episode with someone else who, like you, is navigating podcasts for the very first time. If I could reach through my screen and through this microphone and click the buttons for you, I would gladly do so. But I think you can do this. Podcasting will open a world for you and introduce you to some of the most amazing people around the world. And we value every single listener that comes to our shows, including you. We're doing this for you. When you're listening to your show on your favorite app, most of the apps that you choose will allow you to give a review of the podcast. And that means a lot to the podcast host. And we appreciate it anytime we get any kind of feedback from you as a listener. So if your podcast app has that, go ahead, hit the little follow button, hit the subscribe button, start listening to podcasts today. And if you're not interested in that podcast any longer, you just hit the unsubscribe and move on to your next one. Podcasting is a great way to connect with people, and we would love to connect with you. Again, my name is Dave. Happy to speak to you about podcasting at howtopodcast.ca. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, reach out, and I'd love to answer them for you. Thanks for being here. Welcome to podcasting.